All right, there we go. So our next piece is going to be a 6 by 6 rounded corner piece. It's going to look like this. This is a 3 by 3. That light's really bright right now. This is a 3 by 3 rounded piece. And this is a 6 by 6 corner edge piece. Get rid of that. And it's going to be kind of the in-between. It's going to look like this, but be this size. So it's going to be a 6 by 6 rounded piece. Does that make any sense at all? It's going to look like this, but be this big. Okay, so how do we do that, Mr. Katie? Great question. So we're going to open up a new part file. And one thing you have to know is that on the 3 by 3, you have a straight edge there, and then the curve starts, and then you have a straight edge there. On the 6 by 6, it's twice as far, so your straight edge is actually 2 pieces long. Okay, so we're going to start with a line, and we'll put it on the top plane. And we'll go ahead and look right at that top view. And we're going to do a line like that, and a line like that, and a line that comes up a bit. And I'm going to then go to put a line right there. And then we're going to do a 3-point arc from there to there. Something like that. Doesn't it look perfect? And then let's go ahead and put some dimensions on. This is going to be 6 Legos long. And if you remember, every Lego is 5/16. We could say times 6, and we could say enter, and it did the math for us. Or, same thing here, 5/16 times 6 is 30/16, which is the same thing, and that goes right there. Now, like I said at the beginning, this is going to be a 2 Lego long straight section. And so each Lego is 5/16, so 2 Legos long is going to be 10/16 or 5/8. Okay, and the same thing will be true right here. We'll say 5/8. Okay, now this is an arc, and we want our arc to be perfectly tangent into there and perfectly tangent into there. There's a couple different ways we could do it. We could give this a radius if we knew exactly what it is, which we do, but let's pretend like we don't. I'm going to turn off dimension, and I'm going to go to add relation. And I'm going to say, hey, I want this arc and this straightaway right here to be tangent. And then I'm going to clear that out because you can see the tangent was applied. I can see it right there. And with that cleared, I'm going to say this arc and this straightaway should also be tangent. Now you saw that turned yellow. Basically, by locking this tangent right here and all the other dimensions and constraints on here, this was already tangent. So by doing that, it's saying that I'm over-constraining the part. So we could just say, just kidding, we didn't really want to do that. And if I hit OK, it's going to accept it. And then everything's going to be yellow and sad. So I could just say, just kidding, I don't actually want that second tangent. And we know that it's all good right here. Okay, now, just like this 3 by 3 rounded piece, it's going to be a flat, which means it's only 1/8 tall. So we're going to go to Features, and we're going to go to Extrude, and we're going to extrude it up 1/8, which is not that. 1/8 is that, which is the same thing as 0.125. And when we hit OK, it's going to look like that. Okay. Now, in order to do the knobs, we don't want to, if it says 6 by 6, this would be like 36 different knobs. We don't want to design 36 different knobs. So I'm going to go to Sketch. Yellow box is saying click which face you want to sketch on. So we'll come select this face right here. And let's go ahead and look right at it. And we're going to take a circle. We're going to stick it right there. And that circle is going to be just like all the others. It's going to be 3/16 in diameter. And it's going to be a distance from here to here of 5/32, because that's half a Lego unit. And from here to here of 5/32. So that's our 1. Now we can do a pattern over this whole thing. Now if we extrude this first and actually make it a knob, and then we go to a pattern, I don't think we can choose which ones we want, which ones we don't want, because there's going to be some knobs out here we don't actually want. So instead of extruding first, I'm going to go ahead and do the pattern first. And I'm going to say entities to pattern, this guy. And on that x-axis, spacing should be 5/16, and there should be 6 of them. And we're going to use the y-axis, and we want there to be 6 of them also, and they should also be 5/16 in spacing. So it looks like that. Those are the 36 different circles we actually want. So I'm going to go ahead and say, okay. Now we're going to go to features and extrude. Now on larger patterns, you're not going to want to do this, because if you have something that's 15 by 15, you're talking about 225 different knobs. Luckily mine's not going to be that large. Now if I go click each of these knobs, you can see how they're highlighting. And if I mess up, I might accidentally, ooh, that's kind of pretty. I'm not sure what it's doing. If I mess up and I click in this middle part, it may accidentally select that middle part. And then, it's not letting me. That's nice. If you accidentally select the middle part, you could probably hold down Control and unselect it. Okay, so if I go to Selected Contours, for some reason it's thinking. Alright, so I'm not sure what was happening there, but for some reason it was refreshing. You can see it happening right now. But I went around and I selected all the different knobs I wanted. Now you'll notice that I didn't select, there are 6 of them I didn't choose up in this corner because the knob was not entirely on the part. So I picked all the ones, I think 30 of them, 31 of them that I actually did want. Now the only thing I still have to do here is these knobs should only be 1/16 of an inch tall. So I'm going to come over here to this height, which is currently at 1/8, and I'm going to go ahead and change it to a 1/16 for the height, and then you should see the preview actually update to a smaller height, and we will accept. So that part, that's what it now looks like, and that's what we did want for the 6x6 with the rounded corner. Okay, so we're ready to now deal with the bottom part of this. So we're going to use a shell on this bottom face, and we want to hollow it out, but leave a thickness of 1/16 around the border, and that's going to give us the hollowed out effect with the little knobs underneath, or the little cutouts underneath each of the knobs. Okay, now the tricky thing about this is that there's going to be knobs that have to fit in places where this outside edge are actually making contact. So once again, we're going to need to make a sketch and put a pattern on here. So I'm going to put a sketch on this face, and I'm going to put a circle right from that middle tangent right to the outside, because that's where a knob would fit. And we're going to go ahead at this point and pattern that. We're not actually going to make these knobs, we're going to space them out, and then we're going to cut the ones that interact with that outside edge. And we're going to do the same thing on the y-axis. We'll have 6 of them, space every 5/16, come in the other direction. And now we can start to figure out which ones we actually need to cut. So I've got that pattern of all these circles. So now I'm going to go to Features, and I'm going to say Extrude Cut. And what we can do is we can say, hey, look, this guy makes contact. This guy makes contact. This guy might, so I'm going to go ahead and select it anyway, just to see. I'm going to tilt this guy just so I can see the preview a little bit better. And that guy, and that guy, and that guy. It looks like those are the different places where knobs will actually make contact with the bottom surface of that. So we're going to cut it up just 1/16 of an inch in the direction toward that edge. And you can see it. Some of them are more obvious, and some of them are more subtle, where it took little pieces out of that edge, so it's now compatible. Okay, we're almost done with this part. We just need those little donuts on the underneath part of what holds the Lego in place. So we're going to go to Sketch one more time, and we'll put a sketch right on this face. You could sketch on either face, this face or this bottom face. It shouldn't matter for this. And we're going to go ahead and look directly at that bottom. And we're going to take a circle. And we're going to stick that circle right about there. We're going to make another one concentric with it. We got to make sure that these guys are both exactly one Lego unit off the side. So it's going to be our 5/16 measurement. And we'll do the same thing off this left side, and 5/16. Okay, and that inner circle is going to be compatible with a peg. So it's going to need to be a 3/16 diameter. And again, like we've seen on some of the other parts, we don't know the actual dimension for this outside circle. So we're going to create another circle right up here from that center point to that outside edge, just like that. And let's go ahead and tell it to be exactly 3/16 so that it doesn't move. And what we now need to do, go to Add Relation, choose that outer circle and the circle that we just created, and we're going to tell them to be tangent to one another. Now we know our outer circle is perfect. Okay, now the trick is we want those donuts all over the place except anywhere in this bottom right corner where it's going to mess up our pattern. So we're going to go to Linear, and we're going to unselect those arcs because I'm not sure which one. We want that one, and we want that one. We want spacing of 5/16, and we want 5 of them, because even though it's 6 knobs on the top, it's only going to be 5 of these donuts underneath. And we're going to go 5 in the other direction also with a spacing of 5/16, and we'll switch the direction on that. So now you're seeing all the donuts. There's 25 of them, and it's looking like there's 3 that we aren't actually going to use. We'll use all the rest of them. Okay, so we'll go ahead and select that, go to Features, Extrude, and now we get to go through and actually choose all this. And we get to one. I think my graphics is struggling to keep up here. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this until I have them all selected. Okay, so I've selected all of the little donut shapes I need. I did not pick these 3 because they interacted with that outside edge. As of right now, I've got them so they're in extrude up, which is not the direction I want them to go. I actually want to change the direction so they go up toward the bottom of this thing. So we're going to come up here, switch the direction. We're going to go 1/16 of an inch towards that. And at this point, we should be able to accept that as soon as the graphics catch up with that rotation I just did. And we'll say OK. And there we go. That is the 6x6 curved piece. It should be fully compatible with all your other pieces.